unfortunately, I didn't really mark it where I had it marked down has been erased.
What's my
So I kind of screwed that up.
You did what?
So when I was writing down my
max hit points, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
my max hit points I've got, but as I was deducting how much damage I had taken, I guess I wasn't paying attention and I accidentally erased it on the paper, but it looks like I'm down to 28.
Yeah.
Oh, that much? Okay. Oh, well,
I can't
you
remember.
have more hit points now than I have max.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we can't help it. I mean, Sid was the only one who helped us after all that shit happening. We can't let him die. And Himmel.
So as we kind of hit the live button here, but so yeah, as we'll kick things off, the four of you are in this basically just like a little shop. The two Cobblestones are no longer affected by these what they call, or what this old man called, embers, Circean embers. Basically like this beauty curse type thing. But Himmel came in, just absolutely flipped out, and was trying to talk to Seda. Seems like she's taking a bit of a liking to Seda, but took off down the street. She's down on all fours, very more squirrel-like or rodent-like than human-like. Just running, dashing down the street towards the north, which you know is the harpy nest. They did say Talisman also. That is the girl that Seda ran into. It is said that she was the harpy's daughter. Basically, her parents were killed by these harpies long ago, and they took in this young girl as one of their own. And since she has lived with the harpies and basically views herself as one of the harpies, even though she's racially not.
And I want to point out, because Troy didn't hear that, I had a great idea to recruit Blissvin, the Beholder, to take care of all that shit in the harpy nest, but nobody thought that's a good idea. I think it was.
Nobody wants to go back and interact with that powerful entity anymore.
Yes, exactly.
What's the barrier for us getting back to Sigil at this point? Finding a portal that will get us there. And we were led to believe that if we traveled north, we would be able to have a better chance of finding said portal.
Yes, here in the town, it's said that there's a portal to the abyss, but nobody wanted to go there, ironically. But Sid did say that up to the north, in the Norlands, you could head up into Yggdrasil, and from there, Yggdrasil's branches spread out through every land known, and it would be much easier to find a portal back to Sigil, or at least put on the right track.
And am I right to understand that is still our top priority, is to get back home?
That definitely, and I, for one, at least Zan, wants to rescue Sid, because Sid was the only one who, who basically helped us. I mean, we would have been dead, I guess, more or less, without Sid and Himmel, so, he definitely wants to get him back.
And Sid's at the harpy nest?
Yes, Sid has been kidnapped by those two harpies, and Talisman, who is that daughter of the harpies.
Sid is, basically the guy who's helped him out. He also was once a powerful priest of the church here in town, but he has since lost his power. He felt that he had fallen from favor of his god.
And we think his dad.
I was delighted to hear that in the previous game that Zahn was telling him that potentially his god is no more. I'm on board with helping rescue Sid. You do see though that my character is he seems to be deep in thought. But what you don't realize is that he's spending a lot of time trying to reach out to Book, trying to get that psychic link once more that seems to have been severed.
Yeah, you might have to sacrifice an eye.
You feel when you do reach out that book's essence is there and its intelligence, but it's as if there's something blocking the connection between you and it, marbling its words or something. You get, I guess, almost like static type feedback or something of that sort, but you're not able to make that connection strong enough or break through whatever it is that seems to be separating the two of you to understand what it is. So it's not like a book is dead or anything. You can recognize the power that's still there and stuff. You're just not able to have that psychic connection. It just seemed to snap when you went through that portal.
What do you propose our steps is going forwards on? How are we to get into this place and get out with this Sid?
First, we should have a look. I have no idea of the layout of that place. Supposedly, it's a tree, right? And I look down at my legs already. Very happy about that fact.
Surely your surgeon there should be able to find itself inside. She seems quite able-bodied to climb a tree. He looks to Hemmel. Is she still there?
To who?
Hemmel, the little squirrel girl?
Yeah, she's basically running down the street. She does stop to look back and then runs like as if she's trying to get you to follow her, but
Maybe we can get her to do our reconnaissance.
Definitely, but first we have to catch her. Let's go, let's go.
Eyes go down to your bone-exposed leg, and I watch your gait as you start to gallop forward.
It probably looks a little bit idiotic.
Clop, clop, clip.
Like a leg in a cast.
I look to the two primers. Keep up now. And I run after Zahn towards the harpy's nest.
Can we see it from here? No, right?
Yeah. The kids told you that it was off to the northwest, off the beaten path. It is down a path called the Blasphemous Path.
Oh, good.
Now, do these harpies have relations with the people of this township, or are they their own entity unto itself outside?
No, it's its own thing outside of the city. They do come in to cause trouble and steal people and food and
normal harpy shit.
Yeah, but they're not friendly by any means, and they normally stay out unless they're they're looking for men to take for slaves and have children with, basically.
I've had very little dealings with these foul creatures, though I've read about them. We should be wary. They are not to be trifled with, especially in large numbers.
I think the doctor met... Doctor? Yeah, the... Oh shit, what was he? Alchemist? Sorry.
Alchemist path, yeah.
Yeah, the alchemist mentioned it could be like 5 to 8, maybe?
Mm-hmm. And likely a queen.
Oh, good, yeah. While we're running, by the way, I keep a lookout to the left and right, and I'm looking for big floating spheres with eyes. More than 2.
You see very large floating spheres of flowers for their parade, which actually the parade is still going on. It's a few blocks over as you guys are running down the street over to the, I guess it would be like to the east, down some of these alleyways and stuff. You can see people cheering and floats going by with these different flowers, and it looks like the town is, in full festival mode. The street that you're on is mostly empty, save for a person here or there traveling towards it, or basically off the beaten path.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Are we closing the gap on Hemmel at this point?
Yeah, she would. Once she sees you guys running towards or whatever, she'll stop long enough for you to catch up. She'll sort of stand up humanoid-like for a moment, looking at Seda, and she grabs your cheek, Seda, sort of wiggles them a little bit, chittering like crazy, and then starts to move away towards the north, out of town.
Crap. Yeah, we've already tried to talk to her and to get her to slow down, and she has no interest in that.
And we have no way of speaking with her because she speaks squirrel, yes?
She seems to understand you, but you don't know what the hell she's saying.
But we told her that we were hurt and we needed to rest a moment before, and she was just like, okay, whatever, and kept running. So Seda would just try to reiterate, say, if nothing else, just say, do you have any more of those? Do you have any potions or anything? They're hurt.
She will look at Seda. I know you're a little bit beat up, and Tiva as well, Zan. She looks, although a bit flustered, you can see her eyes light up that you've essentially agreed to try and help her or something. She'll start. Go ahead.
I tell her we can't. I tell her, so we can't help you find your. Was it her dad? That's her
Yes.
dad, right? So we can't help you find your dad if we're dead.
She'll start rummaging around. She'll take out a small packet of one of these pockets in her vests and stuff. It's 3 little flower petals. Each of them are sort of this dark bluish color with reddish colored veins on it. She'll take them out carefully, just barely holding the tips of them, and lay it down in each one of your palms. I didn't have you get involved with any of the fighting or anything, Vendrick, so you're just at full hit points and everything's like normal for you. We should give 1 to each of you, so Seda, Tiva, and Zan.
How much?
And then she'll come up and basically make the motion, like, go ahead, eat it.
I just shove it right in my mouth.
Yeah, same.
All right.
I place it in my mouth.
Everybody give me a save versus poison, please.
Oh shit!
Oh, are you serious?
Really?
Wow, this little squirrel chick is trying to poison us now?
I actually made it
All
for
right.
once.
Save versus poison. Well, this is easy for me. I'm good.
And Tiva.
We'll do poison.
I got one.
No, Tiva did not make it.
All right.
Oh
So
dang!
Seth and Zan, you guys are going to heal 4d6.
4.
4d6.
Oh shit!
I might need all 4 of those.
Tiva, you're only going to be able to heal 1d6.
So we're in the Outlands, right? That's where we are currently? Or are we in one of the actual planes?
Nope, you're not in the plains. Yeah, you're in the Outlands over to the east, in between Chaos or Zaos, whatever is the XAOS one there, and Yizgard. There we go.
Gotcha.
Right in between, there's like a little mountain range in between those 2 cities there. And you're right on that mountain range.
I'm just trying to get a sense of the alignment and or just the nature of the environment that we're in. That's all.
More chaotic.
Yeah.
But you're headed out of the more neutrally evil area and into the good area.
Right into the harpy's nest.
Yes.
How are the dwarfs running? Are they or the dwarfs? I'm sorry, the halfling and the dwarf. Speed wise, can we keep up with Himmel?
She is actually way faster, but she will, as long as you guys are coming or whatever, she's not going to leave you in the dust or
Okay,
anything. She's
good.
trying to hurry you along the best she can, probably even pushing Tiva and Seda a little bit to hurry up, but
Okay.
she doesn't leave you in the dust and behind. Gets to the edge of this town, and it's surrounded by these huge stone walls with these metal spikes that kind of come off the top. It looks very much more like a battle keep than it does a town itself. But given the surrounding areas and the creatures that live here, you kind of get the sense of why. They did mention they haven't been attacked in years, though, but it's quite fortified. The gate is pretty badly damaged. It looks like at one point in time it was either ripped off or smashed by something heavy, like a catapult or battering rams or something. It's all mangled up and stuff on the northern side of this town. It just hangs open sort of limply. You see Himmel quickly scampers over top of this thing, and outside you just see this long road that kind of heads off into the distance. The mountains here, you're on the southern edge of the mountain, so it's heading right into the main core of the mountainous area. She'll keep leading all of you. Are you doing anything more in town, or are you just following her out of town?
I'm content to follow and not getting any other side quests on the way of completing this one.
Yep.
If she's not leading us into the town, I'm content to follow.
Okay.
I'm afraid if we don't follow, we'll lose her,
Yeah.
or she'll lose us.
Yeah, she slows down enough to make sure you all are following, but stays a fair distance ahead and doesn't seem like she's going to stop. You get the sense that she's going to go there regardless whether you're following or not. But as long as you are, she'll keep up a pace to keep you in sight and lead you down the path anyway.
Just stump along, panting heavily.
This would be later morning, I guess like 10, 11 a.m. sort of time frame. And you can hear the screams and joyous festivities going on in the city behind. It kind of echoes off these mountainous walls and the cliffside stone. And up ahead, you can see these mountains rise up. Unlike some of the normal mountains you may have seen in books or even in your own personal travels, they rise quite high into the air, but you don't see any snow-capped peaks. Everything is this dingy, muddy, gray, brown sort of color. The trees themselves slowly die off, and you don't see much vegetation the further you go. You don't see any forests or odds and ends. The grasslands themselves die off. Within just an hour, it's basically just this brown, muddy sort of dirt. It's not wet, but you seem to sink in it, an inch or two every time you step, as if it's almost like sawdust beneath your feet. Deeper into these mountains, and you notice the smell of almost like spring flowers and daisies, a very sweet, almost noxious sort of smell in the air here. Behind, if you look over your shoulders, you can see the town in the distance, and beyond that, this putrid wasteland as you continue to climb further and further up into these mountains. You can feel the air getting a little bit denser, thinner, a little bit colder. Eventually, like I said, about a good hour or so, him will lead you on, continually scampers up just long enough for you to catch up and then scampers way ahead again, and then waits for you to catch up and scampers way ahead, almost like a dog leading you the way down this path. When you come around a corner, you can see her standing next to this large rock that has a carving on it. And she'll be standing next to it, chewing on a piece of, looks like some sort of stick or twig or some sort. She waits for you. Seda, as you come up first and the others follow, you'll all notice this large stone. I don't know if Seda can actually read, but those who can, you can see that it has two arrows. One points sort of to the north. It would be kind of on the left of you facing this thing. And it simply says Yggdrasil, and it points off into the distance. And Vendrick, you're the first one to notice as you look this way. In between these huge mountains that climb up around you and stuff, there's just a small little split between the two of them up ahead, and you can see the top of what looks like a tree branch or something just going all the way up into the sky and disappearing. A few leaves and branches further branching off this thing. With your background, you'd probably recognize that this is Yggdrasil, the world tree, or the great oak. It is a tree more massive than anything you could even fathom, and its branches reach into every known existence in the universe. Over to the right, as you look at this rock, it simply says the blasphemous path, and it looks as if somebody has been slaughtered on this thing, or animals or something. It's just caked in this dried, crusted, blood-like substance. And that path leads off into this rocky, sort of barren wasteland up ahead, and then this tall cliff, maybe about a mile and a half out. It's just a cliffside edge. And Himmel will stop waiting for you all to arrive, and she'll point at that cliffside. She looks at you for a moment, and she makes this motion, kind of with her fingers going up and then explode. And kind of does it again, explode. And then she'll point at this cliffside and make this motion, and then explode like this again.
What is it she's saying? None of you understand her. One moment, little one. Come here, please. And I finger with my index finger for her to come forward, wiggling towards myself ever so slightly. Come here, little one. Do not be afraid. I mean no harm.
Move hesitantly. She hasn't really had much interaction with you thus far, but she'll come over.
I'm about to cast a spell upon you. Do not be alarmed. I mean you no harm, I promise. And I reach out my hand, and with my palm facing her, much like you would if you were interacting with a dog for the first time. So I reach my hand out, palm up, in a non-aggressive fashion. I reach towards her head, and if she'll allow me, I'm just going to like stroke the fur upon her head and forehead. And as I do, I say a few words of magic, and I'm going to cast ESP upon her.
All right.
You understand, little one, that we are not able to speak your language, But now I will be able to understand you at least. These motions you do, this up and out, and the matter of which you do these hand gestures. Please tell me, what is it you're saying?
It comes through sort of broken up. You can see she doesn't have the full grasp of articulating the words correctly. She says, water, ground, water, shoots to sky.
Will this get us to the Harpy's nest? I look up. I don't see. Do I see anything? Like if there's a ledge or something like that this water sprout should be pushing us up towards?
Yep, so as you look at this thing, give me an intelligence check. Just a d20 under your intelligence.
Okay. I rolled a 6. My intelligence is, let's see, 15.
All right. So looking at this, you can see that the water, or the side of this cliffside, looks like it's been pretty worn down by water over the years and stuff. You can even see one area looks like it might have been a part of a waterfall or something. And looking at the way that these rock formations is, you get the sense that she's talking about a geyser and the water coming up out of the ground and blowing up into the sky. And you can see where this geyser would be up in the distance at the top of this cliffside, and where it would essentially, shoot out from the ground or whatever. And she'll point at that as you notice it as well. And she'll sort of make these fluttery motions with her hands and say, nest with water.
Upon the edge of this ridge, there is the nest. Nod if you understand, and if my assertion is correct.
And she'll nod inside. Water don't flow anymore.
Ah, I see. So you've made this journey before in the past, have you, little one?
She'll nod and sort of wave. Foreign, far, far away.
There's no way to actually climb this cliff face outside of using this now innate geyser?
Yeah, you could definitely climb it as well. But as you sort of think that or mention that, she'll point off to the side. You do see an opening in the side of the cliffside as well that would lead into it. And she'll point at that and leads to center. And then she'll point up at the top or down.
And the nest is up, yes, of course. Let me just communicate this with my friends, and I'll be back to tell you something further. I turn around to Zahn and to Seda and to Tiva, and I explain to her that this little fur monster is telling me that the geyser that no longer works should shoot us forth up into the sky and reach the base of the tree in which the harpies live. Or we can go inside and potentially venture up and or down. I have no desire to get wet by this geyser, for I will not be burnt by its heat. I cannot say the same for you.
Oh, she'll quickly hurry over to you and start waving her hands a little bit. You can say, no. Harpies live in Shaft.
Ah, all right. So why do we need the geyser at all? To get the jump on them to enter their realm from above?
She'll say, no. She'll sort of make all these motions, and you get the sense between the words that you're able to pick out and stuff that the harpies have turned this old geyser funnel within the cliffside into their nest. So they live. It's now no longer functional itself, but they've turned the shaft of the geyser itself into their nest.
I got you. I was misunderstanding.
Yeah,
I was thinking the geyser was outside and was going to shoot us up onto the cliff face.
Nope.
But I got it now. So we need to go inside and to attempt to flush out these harpies.
You can see, the mouth sort of climbs up a little bit, and then the hole on the side of it looks like it enters through one side, and then you can see the top side of the cliff. It's about 130 feet up to the top of this cliff face, of where there's large piles of rocks and stuff. You get the sense that you could go down that way too.
These flying entities obviously come in and out through the north, through the above recesses of this cliff. We can climb and enter from that way, or we can attempt to go through the base here. And I point my finger towards the area that the little squirrel monster had told me
Maybe we should go the back entrance. They probably won't expect that if they only use the other side.
If it's like most flying predators that I've seen in the wilds, they'll probably come and go through the access point above. They would probably be more mobile on the wing than what they would on their taloned feet. Now, this squirrel creature, can she get inside? And I look to her as I'm saying this, kind of like talking over her head, but to her at the same time. This squirrel creature here, surely she wants her master to live. Would she be willing to go inside and to decipher where he is so we can get in and get out without lingering? For I fear I do not want my... And look to your furless, muscleless leg. I do not want the bone or the muscles and flesh chewed off of my bones in this harpy nest.
I'll lift an eyebrow.
Does Hemel respond to my query?
Himmel will stare at you for a moment, sort of picking over your words, and she'll nod frantically. And then she just bolts across the ground, down on all fours, like a squirrel that's caught with a car coming towards it or something, and darting back and forth in between brushes and rocks and stuff, making her way towards this thing.
Be careful!
I looked at Seda, creature of the earth. Aren't you attuned to the mountains? Aren't you attuned to the earth and the land under your feet? Is there any way you can decipher if this geyser can be somehow activated once more, or if it's long dead?
Oh, nice idea.
I know they have architecture. I don't know if they have any type of like stone and skills or anything like that.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, is it something that I could do?
You can give me an architecture check for sure.
So I have a skill of 4 and I rolled a 3. So
yeah, looking at the ground, how the water has been worn on the rift or on the cliffside, and the natural terrain of this area, guess the geyser probably hasn't been active for a good 2 millennium or so. It's been a very, very long time. It's basically just this dried shaft now. Getting it to activate or do something would be quite difficult.
Gotcha. It's more than just a boulder sitting on top of a hole.
Pretty much now, yeah.
she would just kind of look down there and say, no, this thing's pretty dry and has been for a long time. I don't think you're going to be able to do anything with it.
Very well, then I imagine we have to get in and get out quickly. We do not want to do battle with these creatures in their lair. We can't burn them alive because we can activate the geyser. If only we were able to get in unseen. They look to the thiefling, or sorry, to the little halfling. Who is the most quiet among us? Certainly it is a Jew, Seda. I could hear you. You're like a rhinoceros tramping through the forest.
Hey.
No offense. Rhinoceroses are beautiful creatures in their own way.
Well, I mean, I could try to stealth through.
You don't have any arms.
No, my arms are getting better.
She doesn't need arms to stealth.
Very cool.
But let's wait what Himmel says.
You.
But aren't your arms still both in slings?
No, there are. Oh, you know what? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Are they actually in slings?
Yes.
Yeah, he put them into slings, sort of.
God.
You totally should have went to that town we bypassed.
Your arms are both, because your shoulders were so out of socket, in order for them to heal, both your arms are like strapped to your chest.
No, I thought they were like this.
No, they're like in slings like this to
Oh.
keep your shoulders.
Yeah, tight to your chest.
Like a straight jacket. How big is this little Hemel? Does she look like she's dexterous and able to scurry about quietly?
Oh, for sure. She's about 5 foot, but extremely agile and fast. Much like a squirrel, what you would expect.
She's a little bit impulsive, though.
Extremely impulsive.
We can go in swords and spells ablaze, or we can try to do this a little more subtly. Game for either. I would like to kill an harpy.
You could probably stealth in there. It's just you might want to run back if you get in any trouble. Unless you're going to river dance them to death.
Oh, mean.
Well, as soon as we hear commotion, we know that something went wrong. That's for sure.
Hear a little halfling scream.
There will be climbing involved. Hemo has informed me that the harpies has made a nest through the entire shaft, and my eyes go up the entire spire, taking in the breadth of it. How many feet total are we talking about?
The cliffside face is 130 feet. Exactly how that translates over to what's inside, you're not sure, but at least 130, depending on if it goes down.
Yeah, there's definitely some climbing involved.
Oh, God. You hear a groan from the barrier.
You're probably not the greatest of climbing either, Zon. I will volunteer to go forth with Hemo, if I must.
I can climb. I'm strong.
I look at the big armor-clad dwarf. We're going in just for reconnaissance, Master Dwarf. I think a quick peek about just to get the bearings of what we're dealing with, and then out, and then we can make a more concrete plan. Hemo, with me. And I start to walk towards the opening that she had pointed to earlier.
She'll scamper along quickly, staying actually a little ways ahead of you, and just waiting for you to catch up and then moving along again. Everybody give me a search check first, though.
Sada would go back and stand next to Zahn and complain about how Vendrick never lets her do anything fun.
It's not about fun. It's about survival now, Sada. And I didn't make it.
I did not succeed either.
All right.
Yeah, I got a 5, so I definitely didn't make it.
I got a 2.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, what's your search?
It is 3.
3.
Oh, thank God.
So, Tiva, you'll notice at first is everybody's slowly picking their way forward and trying to notice. The first thing that hits you is the stench. It just smells absolutely awful here. A mixture of sweat and rotting flesh, harpy shit, quite literally, and just this obnoxious, sulfurous, disgusting sort of smell that hits everybody, except for Vendrick probably, because you can't quite smell anymore, but you even get the sense that it's quite disgusting. What you notice, Tiva, is you moving along this path, and you're looking at this huge cliffside. At the very top, there's looks like one old tree. It's completely dead now. Looks like it was a pine tree or some sort of fir. It raises up about 30 feet off of this cliffside edge, completely barren of anything and leaning partly over, kind of crooked. And as you look at this, you'll see just a slight bit of movement, and then you'll see this large bird-like wing sort of stretch out and then fold back in. From your vantage, it's hard to see, but you can definitely see that there's a harpy up on the edge of this cliffside. You don't see its body, just its wing is seemed to be stretching itself out or something. It doesn't make any sound or act like it notices you, but you've seen the wings itself just stretch out and flay out for a moment and then tuck back in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so she gasps a little bit when she goes, "Oh my God, there's," and she looks at everybody, we need to be quiet. There's a harpy up there. I saw a wing.
Oh, great.
I
I'll
pulled
look up.
my axe.
Wait.
You can pick your way forward. The smell and the stench becoming more and more obtuse the further you get into this, closer to this complex. They're very disgusting. Within about 50 feet of this opening, Himmel will stop, waiting for Vendrick to catch up, and the rest of you, from where you're at, and these couple large boulders and fallen logs and stuff of old trees that have been petrified, it's pretty much just an open path from where you are 50 feet forward to this cavernous opening. And it looks just pitch black inside. How far in it goes or where the shaft is within this, you can't quite tell. It's just this large cave opening, about 20 feet in diameter or so, that leads into this cliffside. But otherwise, there's nothing between where you're at and this cliffside to technically hide behind or do anything. It leaves you out in the open once you cross.
I'm really nervous right now.
Well,
So we're just creeping.
yeah, Sadie's going to stay next to Zan because Zan told her not yet. So.
Okay, can we move like under a ledge or something so the harpy?
From where you're at, not really. As you're walking towards the cliffside face, and basically between you and the side for a good 50 feet or so is just open.
Nothing. So I look up at the tree and I say to Seda, "Act like a stone."
Seda sucks in her breath and stands up straight and just goes,
Oh shit, I killed the dwarf!
it stops moving.
As you watch this cliffside where you saw this Harpitiva, you'll see it again as it comes out a little bit on the edge of the cliffside, and you see this a bird-like human being, these great taloned feet. It's completely naked from head to toe, except for a few sprouting feathers here and there. These thick black nails, even from this distance, you can see gleaming off of each hand and the talons that it has. The lower half is that of like an eagle or some sort of bird. The top half, naked woman, save for the face, is very skeletal-like, almost like the skin has been ripped apart on the face, and it's just this whitish sort of bone covering, partially beaky, and these purple and greenish colored feathers that kind of like a headdress that go off of its scalp and down its back. It'll look around and let out this screech, and then sort of hunker down again behind where this tree is, back out of sight a little bit.
Have I gone inside with Himmel at this point?
Himmel stops about 50 feet away because 50 feet between the edge of this area that you're in with the larger boulders and logs to the cliff face is just a complete emptiness. There's nothing to protect you in between there or hide behind. So she was sort of waiting to see what you guys suggested or do.
Gotcha. So before I had entered the place, this harpy had presented itself as some kind of sentry or something.
Yep. It seems like it does kind of a cursory glance around sort of thing and lets out this loud screech. You get the sense that it's communicating before it hunkers back down again up behind this tree on the edge.
Does it sound like it obviously knows we're there?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't think it doesn't know. And we don't want it to know.
Are there any boulders or any type of shrubbery or anything that we could try and find some kind of, hiding?
Between you and the cliffside, there's nothing. There are boulders where you're at and brush and things like that around.
Just in the moment, in the moment, my back immediately. I rush onto my knees to a boulder and make myself as invisible as possible to the onlooking eyes of this harpy.
Him will sort of dart between this boulder and a log and back and forth for a moment in a bit of a panic, looking probably up where you pointed, Tiva, towards this thing and where it let out the screech, and then to this opening about 50 feet away in this complete sense of panic for a moment. And she'll lock eyes with you for a moment, Seda, and then she bolts across this 50-foot emptiness in between.
Going for the door. My fingers instinctively reach for my crossbow. Unfortunately, my crossbow was given to a little goblin several days prior. I think again about my flesh being eaten from my bones by these harpies, and I think about that poor barrier that was left back in that little shack back in Sigil, and what must be left of him after the goblin has had his chew on him. I look to Himmel, and I curse under my breath, a Celtic curse. And I get up and I follow suit and I start to sprint forth, thinking, I've seen rabbits been snatched by eagles. And all the while as I close in on this little squirrel, I see this harpy coming down with her talons flashing forward and flying off with this little thing that had saved Dawn's leg and potentially her life. And I'm not let that fate happen to her. So I try to close the gap and provide myself as a little bit of a shelter from this smaller thing.
But you're probably reassured as you see that Zahn pulls out his manly sling, just in case you're attacked by the harpy.
If I can close the gap with Himmel, I will attempt to scoop her up under my arm and continue on.
She rolled quite well. She's almost double your speed, but she just takes off like a bolt. But she does that squirrel thing where they sort of dart back and forth and don't ever make that full straight line. So she's kind of darting back and forth a little bit in a crooked sort of jagged path. She makes it across this clearing in the blink of an eye almost as you take off after her. Vedrick, give me a...
Then I think to myself, maybe I'm the rabbit.
Yeah.
What do you want me to roll?
Give me a... I'm going to say a dex check in this case. I'm going to compare it to their search. So
Yeah, so I rolled 600. My dex was 14, and I rolled 8.
Okay, so it's pretty good. What's their search?
I see her doing her zigzag motion, and I start to try and mimic it as best I can as I realize I'm not going to catch this little squirrel creature. She's twice my speed.
So you see Vendrick as he darts across, following the sort of path, zigzagging back and forth frantically. Up ahead, just as he's about halfway across this clearing and closing the distance to this opening, Tiva, you look up and you see this harpy again make its round and sort of come out to this cliffside. Its eyes quickly glance down directly into this clearing where you've seen Himmel dart across. And it looks down as you look over just in time to see Vendrick tucked underneath on this cavernous opening. It stares for several moments before again letting out a bit of a screech and disappearing behind this tree.
Did it recognize what it saw? Or
Doesn't sound like it.
okay, good.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the harpy noticed anything. So Tiva breathes a sigh of relief.
What's inside Vendrick is just pitch black in this tunnel that leads forward. Even though you still can't smell like they do anyway, you get that hints of that disgusting sort of sulfurous smell in your nose. As soon as you step inside this cavernous opening, even spilling outside of it a little bit, and sort of a radius around it, this old chewed bones, flesh, all this rotting meat, and hanging from the top of this chamber as you step in, it looks like real thin pieces of fishing line or something. You'll recognize it as dried up entrails as you step in, and you can see just male genitalia hanging all over in this cavern.
Ew.
That's a lovely sight. I swallow deeply, even though there's no saliva to swallow anymore in my dry, undead mouth. I look at the sunlight coming in from the gap, and I kind of gauge how dark this place is going to be, and if I would need to create some kind of illumination to search further.
The way the sun is, being fairly close to noon, it stretches in a good 15-20 feet into this opening. Up ahead, even though it's darkness, you can see a pinpoint of light in the distance. Where the sun is, you get the sense that it's probably shining right down through the shaft. So it'll be twilighty. Shadowy, but not dark by any means.
I'm not going to walk off a ledge.
No,
All right, so I factor that in and realize it would be foolhardy for me to create more light to bring illumination to myself. So I just venture forth quietly in a crouched position, just slowly putting my one foot before the other. And I look to Himmel as I'm trying to get her to lead the way. I'll find your friend, little one. I will be behind you, but I fear I will only slow your pace.
She takes very cautious steps down on all four like a squirrel, and sort of jerky as she puts her foot out and another one. Looking around at this cavern, you can see this absolute horrendous face she sort of put on from the smell, from the disgust. Each step you're crushing across bones and bits of rotting meat and what looks to be the remains of people that are half eaten. And she'll look up at all these hanging decorations around. Fortunately, as a squirrel, she does not hoard these nuts, but she does look at these, and you get that very scared sense about her. She moves very cautiously forward, and then just comes to a stop, completely in her tracks, as she's looking like she's getting ready to step forward and just freezes.
So my ESP lasted one turn, so I mean that time has probably come and went at this point.
Yeah.
I look towards this puzzle, like I raise an eyebrow as best I can with my dead flesh and see if she will do any kind of like hand gestures or anything like that. I kind of like put my hands up in a questioning, you know, shrug of the shoulders type of thing, like what's going on, what's wrong. If she understands it or not, it's probably an intellect thing.
Have we followed behind you guys?
Nope, I'm gonna hop over to you in just a moment.
Oh, okay, cool.
She doesn't really. You get look at her face, and she sort of shifts an eye in your direction, Fendrick. But she's frozen like a statue in place. You see her eyes bulge out a little bit, and her nose will twitch just a little, but she's just frozen, solid. It doesn't look. It looks like she's not affected by anything. She's just frozen herself.
Okay.
Like in fear, basically.
Gotcha. And she's how far ahead of me at this point?
Probably like maybe 10 feet, if that.
Okay. I will venture forth slowly, one creeping step at a time, being careful not to break any brittle, dry bones. And I will scan around slowly, try to get a gist of what has caused this fear, whether it be natural or supernatural.
Her eyes look forward, and they follow you as you step up, and you can see her hand sort of moves just a little bit. These small little furry claws twitch a little. Her eyes bulge forth a little bit in their sockets. As she looks directly straight ahead, as you follow her gaze, Fendrick, up ahead, you can see this large shaft that sort of opens up. It's about 30 feet in diameter. Basically just picture like a tunnel from the ground up. It's about 20 foot in diameter, so you can see a glimmer of light cascading down through. As you watch this, you can't see anything in the tunnel itself besides that it opens up, but you see a body just pass by the opening, and then just the smash as it hits the ground beyond. There's a slight whimper, and then just silence. And then you hear a squawk, the screeching, ear-piercing, almost like a eagle's call. Screech out, and then followed by a second and a third.
And then that's dropped past me and down below into a plummet below me.
Yep, you got it. And then just silence again. Everybody outside, you guys hear this screech, the second and the third. If you look up towards the cliffside, you'll see that whatever, like sentry, whatever it is, has come off to the cliffside again. It looks around, and then it leaps from the side. And just like this big starts to circle above, getting a little bit higher and higher and higher, riding the airwaves up. What do you guys do outside?
Oh, dang, stare. Do you think that was a good sign or a bad sign?
I have no idea. Still standing like a statue.
You can't breathe. Keep an eye on the sentry. It doesn't look like like it's been alerted by the screams, right? It's used to that.
Right, yeah. No, when they did go off though, you seen it leap from the edge, and it'll sort of dive down a little bit, and then it catches air current or whatever. It starts to circle. With each circle, it gets wider throughout the round, but gets higher and higher up into the air. And if you wait a good minute or so, it's basically sort of a pinpoint in the distance, and then off to the side, so basically out of sight if you wait long enough.
Shall we get in? I mean, it doesn't hurt to be closer.
I don't think we're much good out here, but what if that thing sees us?
What?
Don't we have to cross the same in front of underneath the gaze of the sentry?
Yeah, but it's flying away right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's okay. Well, we're not doing much good out here.
Definitely not. So I keep an eye on the sentry, and as soon as I'm pretty much sure that it won't see us anymore, I start running.
You wait for it to get to that sort of furthest point out of sight almost, and it disappears over part of the mountainside, or essentially out of sight. As you start to make your way across, you can see that it begins to circle back around and it's making its way back. As long as everybody runs, you have no problem getting to the opening before it gets there, but it looked like it was doing more of a big circular scan of the area.
Yeah. I don't think it's seen us yet, but we need to hurry.
Yeah, you're inside.
No, I'm not.
Aren't you?
No, she's with you.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Oops.
My arms.
Yeah, run. Cluck, 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 click, cluck, 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 click.
As you scamper across this opening between yourselves and this cliffside, everybody will get closer and closer and smell this disgusting, rancid smell. It gets worse and worse. I do need saves or poison from you three.
Oh, dang.
I couldn't even get a sense that it smelled bad. Really.
No. I didn't make it.
All right.
It's more of a visible cue for me than the smell test.
If you made it, you're all good. If you fail, as you enter into this darkened tunnel, Zan, you're a little bit taller than everybody, being up on the horse's body, so you get face first. You run into these dangling testicles and limp members as they dangle down, but you're going to be considered poisoned for the moment, which is going to give you -1 to all of your rolls.
Teabag. You got negatives by teabagging.
Zan got teabagged.
Disgusting. What is -1? Oh, sorry, I was disgusted.
-1 to all of your rolls.
Okay.
And it lasts as long as you're nauseated, which is probably going to be a while in here. But
Great.
Unless Zan rolls that way, then he should be getting positives.
Same thing for you, Seda and Tiva. If you guys are failed, it'd be -1. Otherwise, you're okay. It's disgusting.
I'm sorry. What we need to roll against the paralyzation or
Poison.
Again?
No, I'm good. Sorry, I got we had a distraction here at the house, and I missed exactly what we ran into.
I ran into testicles hanging from the ceiling.
Like actual testicles?
Well, they're what's left of them, I guess. I mean, they're half eaten.
That's pretty fucking terrible. All right.
They're just hanging off of like jagged pieces of rock and stuff like that, or they're hanging like ceremonial like chandeliers or something.
Both. Some of them are just kind of hanging there. Other ones by thin shreds of intestines, gut string, basically. But it's very much a memorial or a decor here.
Right, it's done on purpose. It's not just haphazardly.
So the dwarf and halfling are short enough that we're able to run under it and not actually have to touch it.
Yeah. I shove one out of my eye while I'm becoming green in my face. And I just whispered, they really hate men.
Well, nudge Zan and say, well, looks like only one of us really has anything to worry about then. In the ribs.
Big old goat balls. Your trouble, son.
In the outer plane.
You're gonna get something else chopped off up in here.
Oh my god.
Beautiful. As you move forward, all of you will sort of start to move in. It gets dark for a moment and then starts to lighten up again. And you can see Himmel crouched down on all fours, starting like she's getting ready to crawl forward. Her paws sort of separated a little bit, just frozen solid as she looks forward. Vendrick would be standing next to her. So, yeah, Vendrick, you would see or hear the others just starting to come up behind you.
I put my hand up in a halting motion, and I looked at Himmel. Now, I'm trying to get a sense. We came in, are we just on a flat surface? Where's the actual, like, the actual drop, like the actual, up and down? We haven't reached that point yet? Or
Right. This tunnel that you're in is about 40 feet long between the opening and where the geyser tunnel itself starts. You're about 3/4 of the way through, so the opening's about 15 feet ahead of you.
So that's where my goal is to creep as quietly and stealthily as possible to get to that precipice point where I can look up and down. I don't really know what that is. I don't know that it's 15 feet, but I'm going to go quietly forward to get to Himmel to see what caused her to stop, and otherwise to try and get to that point to further assess where I think Sid might be.
As you move forward, Himmel waits till you get up beside her, and she'll look at you from the corner of her eye and then slowly begin to move forward as well. You get the sense that she was frozen more out of fear or cautiousness than actual anything supernatural. But she'll crouch quite low to the ground, almost all the way down, so her belly's moving across the ground. It's covered in gore and bones and everything here. In between, as she picks her footsteps and stuff, you're able to follow hers as well, Vendrick.
I pull my Viking arming sword out quietly out of the sheath, as quiet as possible, like inch by inch, moment by moment, to pull it out and to kind of rest it against my leg as I also creep forward in the crouched position. Has it gotten darker, or is it still light enough to see?
No, it's light enough. It actually starts to brighten up a little bit more as you get closer to this tunnel where the sun is shining down through. And as you reach the edge, this precipice in between, and you're able to start to see this geyser tunnel, you can see that it drops down about 40 feet below before it's... it looks like the geyser itself has been covered up over the years of stuff by dirt and rock and whatnot that's fallen down through this tunnel. But as you look down, you'll see that there's probably, you'd have to guess, maybe upwards of 100 bodies just rotting at the base of this tunnel, like they've been dropped from the shaft down, just piling up at the bottom.
Right, so I'm processing this. I'm processing the fact that this body just tumbled down. Like, what's the chances? What's the success rate of these harpies with their hunting? Is this obviously Sid that's fallen down because the time elapsed, or the fact that there's so many decomposing bodies down there that they're always hunting and there's always bodies, and that person that fell to their death might not be Sid?
Yeah, it's definitely not Sid. It's, I mean, even from where you're at, it's a good almost 40 feet down, but you can tell that it's not him, and they're in all states of decay. Some of them on the outer side are more just liquid soup and gore, where other ones look fairly fresh. So you get a sense that it's all just people that they've hunted over the time and food that they're letting ferment and just drop them down there to do whatever that is harpies do with them.
I know Sid was a man of magic, even though he said that he was no longer in touch with the silver of magic to his deity has passed, but he was also a alchemist, correct?
Yes.
So with that knowledge, as I get to creep out to the precipice of this edge, and I can look down and look up, I start to cast a spell. He says quietly, and he takes a sprinkling of this fine metallic, just little pieces, basically, little dust, and he sprinkles it over his own head, and as he does so, he looks up into the chambers above and the chambers below, and basically I cast Detect Magic, and I'm trying to get a sense of if Sid was magical or if he had any magic on him. Maybe these lovely super healing plants that this little squirrel had earlier. So I'm trying to get a sense of if there's any magic about, and that will be my beacon to Sid.
As you look down, you'll see different bodies that below you radiate different magics, all different sense. You get a sense of different trinkets or magical items, weapons, whatever they have, are buried in this gore pile below you. Looking up, it is just about 130 feet up, if you had to guess, considering the cliffside, to the top, and the sun is almost directly overhead, so shining light all the way down through here. It's not bright like daylight, but you can see quite clearly. There is a tunnel below you that branches off from this main shaft and goes off into the distance. Can't quite see what's down there, whatever, though. And then up above you, as you look up, about 10, 20, about 35 feet above you, there is a couple cross beams. They look like almost like railroad ties or big, heavy wooden beams that have fallen down the shaft and have been lodged, crossing over top of one another in between the walls, sort of creating an X lodged in between the walls above you. And in the center of that is a large square, looks like a stone, but that radiates very strong magic as well. It would be divination magic. No, conjuration. Yeah, conjuration magic that would be given off. And then you can see a spiraling staircase has been carved into this side of this geyser shaft. The spirals up another 60 feet or so, where part of this shaft opens up. You can't see what's up there, but you can definitely hear squawks and screeches now and then, and sounds coming from. You get the sense that that's probably where the main harpy nest is, which is about 60 feet above you. You don't recognize anything else that would lead you as a beacon towards Sid, but you get the sense that if he's definitely not in the pile below, but he's been brought here, so he's probably up in the actual full nest area, would be your guess. Everybody's muted if anybody's saying something.
Oh, sorry. The spiral staircase heads up in that general direction, yes?
Yep, it's 40 feet above you because it starts at where these cross beams are.
So there's a 40 feet gap from where I am, where the staircase begins?
Yes, correct.
So
yep.
I have to get to that gap.
Yep, 40 feet above, and that's where it looks like those crossed beams are. It looks like they've actually been lodged there by something, like purposely, in between walls, and been just shoved down so they lodged into place. One way, one opposite, and then this large square stone set on top of them. And then from that stone up, it starts to spiral up.
And there's an overwhelming glow of conjuration magic.
Yep, from the square stone itself set across these beams.
Is there any apparent way to climb up to that from my current vantage point? Myself or Emil, who I assume is much more able-bodied to do such a task than I.
It is actually very smooth stone from the years of this you guys are passing up through. It's been worn pretty smooth, but there is handholds, and there's old rotting ropes that hang down. You would actually notice a few mining picks and different things like that in the gore pile below you. And then the opening it is directly across from you and down 15 feet is another opening that leads further back into the geyser. And you'll see a large mining cart at the edge of the ledge that leads into that. So there is like pittons and ropes. The ropes are mostly decayed, but the pittons are still there, and it looks like they were set up for climbing up and down the shaft at one time.
I look over my shoulder back towards the barrier that has no purpose of being in here. I cannot understand why this fucking goat man has come into this death chamber. But I look back towards him and the smaller two humanoids that are with him. And I look and I want to communicate something to them quietly. So whether they come to me or I backtrack to them, I start to move back in their general direction.
I guess we'll walk closer a little bit. At least I do.
Yeah, we were trying to kind of catch up anyway, so I
Yeah.
assuming we're just creeping up.
Yeah. What's wrong? Do you see something?
I see many things on, but the thing that I see most is up there. There seems to be a nest of sorts. It is a guess, or it is a educated guess that my understanding is Sid is above there on that perch. You see those cross beams? I think this is where the creatures are brought initially, and they're fed upon and then dropped down there. And I point down. There's a strong sense of magic there, and I would wager my son's dying soul that Sid rests there. I need a distraction, something below, for the harpies to be away from their nest. For if there's a queen, she will certainly be there, and she will be beyond my capacity to take out. So a distraction below, and I will make sure that I go above. And to get Sid, and to get him out. And if they plummet below as I plan, and if you're successful in this gambit, you will flee this place. Zon.
What about below and outside?
Better, yes, but you do not want people or the harpies outside, for that's where we will be fleeing to, you see. The more we can get to go down there where we have no business, the better. Do you understand what I'm saying, Zon?
I do.
I do want no quarry with these creatures, not in here, for we will be at a grave disadvantage. You have testicle in your eye.
Still? Oh, I rub it. Oh, not the testicle, my eye.
That's nuts.
So, Zon, the plan.
Yes,
if you and your others are up to it, is to create some diversion below. Get the harpies to check it out, and in that moment of confusion, I will go above and try to retrieve Sid and meet you outside.
So I point at that storage of bodies, and I say again, so you want a distraction down there?
That would be ideal, yes, son.
Yeah, where this body mound rises up
Yeah.
into the chamber. About 10 feet above this mound of bodies, opposite of the tunnel you're in, is another tunnel that goes, parallel to yours. And there's a mining cart and some old mining stuff on the edge of it. So it looks like they had climbed into this tunnel and started mining back into it, the mountainside.
I look at Seda and I say, do you have lamp oil or something similar? Tiva? You, Vendrick?
I start going through my stuff, and I say, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I have some paper and parchment.
Oil.
Use.
I got all kinds of stuff.
Perfect. I grab the paper and I open that lamp oil bottle and I make a very primitive Molotov. And then I take the Illithid holy symbol and I hold it over the edge, over that heap of bodies. And I try to find a very strategically good point for it to drop onto, like maybe a white shirt or something that it's really sticking out. I actually polish it a little bit to make it even look more shiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I drop it on there and I wink to the others. Not even will we make a distraction, but maybe we can start a little war between some adversaries of ours. And I'll look to the others again. So, ready?
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Oh, well, we have to get out of here.
I go over to the edge of the precipice as the point of entry to jump up into the channel up above to the cross planks and what I presume to be the nests. And you see Vendrick bend over in a crutch 4-point position where his hands and knees are touching. And from his back, you see these spectral black wings sprout from his back. And you can hear him groan and grunt in what seems to be pain as these black wings sprout from his back. And he looks back over his shoulder and he's ready.
I'm distracted for just a second, and then I light the Molotov with my stone, tinder thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I motion for the others to run outside, and I smash it into the pile of bodies.
And with
And
that,
I run.
As it smashes, immediately you see the calves and quad muscles of Vendrick's legs flex as he jumps into the air, and the wings lap back behind him in one big and he shoots up 120 feet per round of movement as he shoots up the shaft in a spiral motion, dodging the tangling of testicles and entrails, and swoops up towards the cross planks above.
I look at Zahn and I say, is that...
Yes, it is.
Okay. I don't like that version of Vendrick. And then I start running after Zan. I'm assuming we're all running out, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm running as fast as I can. Obviously distressed by what she just saw Vendrick do.
All right.
And before we run actually out, I peek out of the entrance and see what the harpy is doing, the sentry. He's probably she's probably flying into the shaft, right?
Maybe. So, Vendrick, you're able to leap off the side of this and start to circle around. You can use this huge stone block that's up above you across these cross beams, sort of as cover. Stay close to the wall. You notice Himmel, as soon as you leap off, she quickly scabbers around on the stone and leaps off the side. In between these pitons and parts of jagged rock that are still there and stuff, she climbs like a squirrel up a tree, just insanely quick, and is able to keep up with you for the most part.
Love it. Beautiful.
She scales this opposite wall as you circle around. You'll be able to get to the other side of this dais within just a moment's notice. Below you, you can see this lantern, Molotov, primitive thing, sort of tumble end over end, smashes across these bodies, and flames erupt across these decaying bodies. As you watch this, Zan, Sedativa, all of you would be at the edge just as you drop this over. Your trinket there that you dropped as well, nice and clear in the open. It seems to glimmer in the sunlight that's casting down through this. You turn Sedativa and Zan. Are you three running out of this tunnel, if that's correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'm at least.
Yeah, Seda
we're
is
falling
running
behind.
right with Zan because Seda at this point hasn't figured out exactly what the plan is other than so
Chaos.
she's staying with her friend.
Seda, or actually Tiva and Zan. Well, Zan, you take off running, Tiva right behind. Seda, you go to turn and leave as well. Something moves just in the corner of your eye, and just out of that habitual nature, you glance over. You can see a man down at the bottom of the shaft who was not quite dead. His flames race across him. His eyes gasp out. It looks like he tries to scream, but there's just no sound, and he begins to flail a little bit. You can see the bottom half. Looks like his legs are broken. And then you notice a second, and a third, and a fourth Seda. All men who quickly begin to freak out. There looks like their legs have been completely smashed below, but they're alive as they're panicking as these flames race across of everybody. All of them open their mouths like they're trying to scream out in pain or help or whatever, but there's absolutely no sound that comes from them. And let me roll. Up above Vendrick, as you start to circle around, you come up just underneath these cross beams and this glowing magical stone square. The underside of it looks like it's been made out of old coral shells and some sort of like marble tile, but it pictures this ocean-like scenery, very well crafted. You can sense some sort of very high-level artisan created this thing way back, but it's quite old. But it pictures a scene with a ship sailing across the ocean, and behind it is this massive portrayal of some godlike figure with a trident looming down above them. As you start to circle to the side and up to where these crossbeams are, so you can see the top side of the square, you'll see a man who has been chained down to the top of this stone dais. Just his hands have been chained to the side. He's completely stripped naked to all the way down through. Both of his legs, the kneecaps, have been bent the opposite way and have been snapped in half. He'll look at you and looks like he tries to say something, but again, it's just complete silence. No sound comes from his voice. And then you'll see 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 harpies from this sort of donut-like carving around the outside of the shaft. One will leap over the side, the second, and then the other 2 as they bolt just in a complete skydive down through in between these cross beams and down to where these flames are. Seda, Zan, Tiva, you'll also see all 4 of them as they dart past the opening down towards these flames, letting out this panic squeaking and squawking like crazy. They did not single one of them noticed Vendrick or Himmel as they darted past you, more intent on either the flames or this trinket that Zan has dropped. What do you guys do?
Is it Sid, the individual that's there?
It is not, but he does look quite familiar. You can't place it. You know you haven't. It's not somebody you know, but it's somebody who you've definitely seen around town, probably at the Happy Griffin Inn or something. He's familiar in passing, but nobody specific.
Where is Sid? Where is he? Have you seen him?
His eyes will sort of flutter up, but he's being chained down. He isn't able to move or anything, but his eyes sort of look up above.
My eyes follow, and I look up. Is there more crossbeams?
Nope, it's just that spiraling staircase that goes for about 25 feet up to the main area that's been carved out that you assume is the next area.
Assume is a ledge and such.
Yep.
And he's chained.
Yep, both hands are chained down. Looks like very old manacles. His knees are completely busted backwards, so you can see that they're just shattered.
I'm looking to see how concentration or spell durations work in this game. So the detect magic, did I sense that it's from this individual or something else that's here?
It is the stone dais itself that has this purplish conjuration magic glow. Exactly what it does, you're not sure, but it's definitely magical. The top side is complete slate. It's not decorated, but the underside is decorated with that ocean scenery with, you probably recognize the god as like a Poseidon type deity of some sort.
Yeah. I look over to the man. I put my hands forward with a quick whip, a fast reaction. Cover his hand over his eyes and face. It's better this way. And with it, I pull my sword across his throat to kill him in his moment of being tied there. And with that, I lunge forward again and jump further up into the night here, or the sky.
Himmel quickly scampers behind you. She stops long enough to look at this man, and you get the sense that she recognizes who it is. Her eyes close for just like a brief second, and then she quickly scampers up the wall beside you as you start to circle up, and then runs across these steps that are spiraling up. Below, Sedativa and Zan, what do you guys do? Well, these paralyzed, basically, men are absolutely in panic as they're getting burned alive, trying to scream, and you see all four harpies dart past this opening. Two of them go down to where this trinket type thing is, sort of trying to get at it in between the flames and stuff. The other two dart down into the side tunnel.
But they haven't seen us, right?
They did not notice you. Nope.
Okay. I haven't seen the men coming back to life. So I peek really quickly out of the exit and look for the sentinel.
Give me a stealth check.
Oh boy. Oh, wrong die. Hang on. I actually rolled a 1.
Beautiful.
Thank God.
So you creep forward to this opening, press the testicles that are swinging out of your face, and look up. It's maybe 20 feet above you, clinging to the side of this cliffside, looking around. Its talons dug deep into the stone side. And you could hear the squawks of inside as these harpies inside the shaft, send off alerts of the flames or whatever. And this one will drop out this loud screech as well, and it leaps off the side, sort of into a dive towards the ground outside. You get the sense that it's going to drop down and try to come through your way.
Oh, great.
It does not notice you, though.
But it's about to come in here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there like a nook or something we could squeeze in?
It's jagged and stuff, so yeah. I mean, Zan's quite large, but yeah.
My ass sticks out.
I stuff her in there real good.
So I motion for the other two to kind of squeeze in somewhere. Behave like the wall.
So Seda gets right up against the wall, like straightens her back, sucks in her breath, and goes, and leans right flat against the wall and holds her axe to her chest.
And Tiva, because she's smaller and not as beefy.
Just get up underneath the sand.
Yeah, I'm just going to get up underneath Zan.
All of you press yourselves up hard against this cavernous wall.
Boy, Zan's balls.
Oh, God!
You hear the thump of this thing as it lands outside the tunnel, and then scraping sounds as the talons scrape across the stone. It moves some of these old bones and stuff aside. You can hear the sound like bells jingling. And as you see this thing come, sort of in the silhouetted from the light behind and in front of this tunnel, you can see that it is covered in all sorts of trinkets and jewelry and stuff, very gaudy type things. You'll take a step in, letting these long, black, jagged claws scrape across the stone with each step. It moves quite cautiously at first. It lets out another screech, and it's echoed by all four back in the other tunnel. Two of them sound a bit more distant, the other two much louder. And they'll stop dead in its tracks for a moment, and its eyes scan across. It doesn't seem to notice exactly where you are or that you're there, but it definitely can sense that you're there. And you can see that its eyes flip closed a little bit, flip back open as it scans this room. And then it makes this soft humming sort of sound. A few chirps. And then it sounds almost like a religious sort of hymn that escapes between these beak-like mouth. You can see this grayish sort of tongue move between the beaks as it begins to sing. I need all three of you to give me a save versus magic.
I got a 17 over a 10.
And what was it again? It was safe
Magic.
versus magic.
Oh,
I failed.
I fail.
the dumb one makes it.
So you stand completely stoic, Seda, against this wall, watching this thing. As you watch it, Tiva, its song is beautiful. It reminds you of your childhood, of times when you used to play with your friends and sing halfling songs, ring around the rosies, play games. It takes you back to your childhood for a moment. This calmness sort of washes over you. As you watch her, Zan, you'll see that she sits down on the ground, leads her back up against the wall, and her eyes sort of flutter closed, a smile on her face. And it's just this perfect state of nirvana for you, Tiva, just remembering what it was like to not have these worries and to have the freedom and the innocence of being a child again.
And being able to use both my arms.
The days you could once use your arms. Just, and you look at her, and then you look up at this creature, Zan. It is disgusting. It's covered in gore and dried blood. It smells absolutely disgusting. You can see that it's covered in harpy shit and scat. But this is a fetish you never knew you had, and you can't help but
What?
look at this thing and just imagine what it would be like to bed such a creature.
Oh.
You'll see her step out from this wall over top
X
of you.
card! X card!
Tiva, as she moves forward, you would see her as well, Seda. Zan, you are completely compelled to move towards this thing at each turn, but it's only about 15 feet away. So as you move forward, its eyes will quickly click onto you, and it locks eyes with you. A part of you knows how horrible and how disgusting and how wrong this is, but the other part of you has such desire that you're just unable to help yourself. As you crouch down on the ground and lay across, presenting yourself in all your glory to this disgusting bird-like seductress.
I lick my lips.
Yes. So Seda, seeing both of her friends charmed and seeing her best friend Tiva charmed for the second time in what, a day?
Yeah.
It's probably just gonna run up and try and hit the damn thing. I don't know what else to do.
All right. So yeah, you will see. Well,
We'll break
neither
this.
one of you would notice, but as Seda steps out from the wall, axe in hand, and charges towards this thing, we will swing back over to Vendrick and Himmel for a moment. Both of you scale up this stairway, Vendrick on wings. Himmel clambers along the walls and the stairway alongside you. You go up. The stairway goes about 25 feet before it ends, and it's this 30-foot shaft that rises up. But when you get to the nest area, it looks like it's been carved out, almost like a donut sort of shape, around the inside of the shaft, another 20 feet. So it's more of a 40-foot diameter in this area, 20 feet high, 40 feet. To your left, it's just little basic bird-like nests of bone stuck together with this really white, slimy mucus-type substance, and feathers and harpy scat and other gore that they've made these nests out of. Some of them will have tiny little eggs in them. Some of them will even have what look to be infantile type harpies. They're very bird-like, but with humanoid features squawking in them. There's 6 nests there in total. To your right, however, it has the same donut thing. There's 2 nests there, but there's another shaft that goes in deeper into darkness. And you can't smell, I guess, but you can tell even by looking at Himmel, whatever's wafting out of this room beyond is beyond putrid. She just immediately begins to vomit and start to sort of go into seizures on the edge of this cliffside. You don't see any other harpies. The 4 below you, you can hear the one squawking and stuff below. You wouldn't know the one singing down below. None are above you. And what is exactly in the room to the side, you can't quite tell, as it sort of veers around the corner and it's just pitch black in there.
There's no obvious sign of Sid, so that would be the next best guess.
Yep. And up above, there is nothing. There's just a 60-foot shaft up to the opening.
All right, fly over. Again, I have, 8 turns or 6 turns total with this fly. So again, 120 feet movement is pretty fast. So I jot over Himmel to her own devices. Hopefully she's okay, but she's not my priority at this moment either, even though she's also very valued to Zahn. She's just vomiting. The death of Sid is imminent, so I start to fly in the direction of that, what appears to be an alcove at that kind of opening.
100, yeah, you can definitely reach it then. So you can zip up. It's a shaft that goes in a little bit. It looks like it was naturally mined out at one time. You get sense not by the harpies, but just through natural mining here. And it goes in about 10 feet or so before it goes on a 45-degree angle upward sort of shaft. The whole shaft, bottom of it, is just littered in feathers and harpy scat and bits of rotted meat. And this constant trickle of what looks to be water, but it's very yellowish putrid white type mixture, opalescent sort of substance is trickling down through this tunnel. You get to the edge of it, and it's just this. You don't have any kind of dark vision or anything, do you?
I do not. I do have light, though. If I was to the point where I could not see naturally, I could potentially cast it. No, I need to ask a question real quick, though, about concentration and having, spells ongoing versus, like, fly is, in D&D purposes, would be a concentration spell, wherein I couldn't cast another concentration spell. I don't know how it works in Lamentations.
I don't think there's actual concentration rules, to be honest.
So spells can like stack. I didn't see them in here. There's very little in the magic and or the casting rules.
Yeah, I don't believe there is any of the casting activities. As far as I know, there isn't. I'll have to double check for next time. But
how would you play that then? So I could still have fly going and then cast light and or something else.
Yep, I'm cool with that.
Okay. So yeah, if it seems to be too dark where the light's not getting in here, I would cast light.
You can get to the edge of this 45-degree shaft. It goes for about 30 feet. And then it opens into a huge globe-like chamber. The tunnel emerges from the side of it, but otherwise it's 20, 40, 60, about 80-foot diameter globe that it opens up into. There's really thin trails of light that come through in tiny holes on the ceiling, and it sort of casts these beams of light down through. You don't have good sight, but you can see a little bit. And at the bottom of this globe-like chamber, rising almost 40 feet in height, is a mound of bones and feathers, harpy, shit, and mucus and slime. It's one massive nest. It'd be 80 feet in diameter or 40 feet high. And at the top of it, you see this harpy. It's bloated, massive, probably twice the size of a horse. I have a picture of it. I will toss into the Facebook chat.
So this is obviously different than the harpy that I had seen as a sentry outside. This is something other than.
Completely. You definitely would recognize it as the queen. It is covered in gore and extremely obese. These angelic sort of wings come off the back of it. And you almost get the sense of beauty to it, even underneath this horrid, disgusting sort of features that it has. These open lesions have been crossed on a bit of its thighs and chest and other areas, as it's just become so bloated and so large that its skin is beginning to split open. It has a chain that reaches off of its left leg around the talon and branches off into a total of 7 different chains. Each one is chained to a person, a male, completely stripped naked. and they wallow in the filth of this thing upon its nest. Every now and then, you'll see one of them clamber up the side of this and mount this harpy in this ecstasy sort of ritual before it falls off to the side, completely famished. One of them is Sid. The other ones, you probably don't. They're just random people you've never seen before. But one is Sid. He's lying completely unconscious at the moment, off to the side. And let me see. Give me a. Let me just give her a search check to see if she notices you. She does not. As she just continues to grab chunks of meat and gore off of this nest that she has and just shovel it into her mouth, just feeding away. You can see that's basically just a breeding harpy.
How big is this thing in comparison to the others? Sorry.
Let's see. It stands about 20 feet high and about 25 feet wide, sort of. Well, actually, much larger than the horse. Probably about 4 times the size of a horse.
Wow, so monstrous,
Yes.
huge. And where is Sid, sorry, in relation to this entity right now?
And where are you mean?
Yeah, can I spot Sid? I do see
Oh,
him.
Sid, yeah, it's chained to her on one of these chains. The chains are about 20 feet in length, and it's just wallowing, or he's just wallowing on the top of one of these, this filthy nest off to the side. Having already, mounted her and done his thing, he seems to be recovering for the moment.
And this creature is awake.
It is, yes. It would be facing towards you, but it's not awake. You get the sense that it's positioned itself to watch the tunnel that you're standing in, but it does not notice you at the moment at all. It's just too busy feeding itself. Want to give me a search check, see if you can see anything more in there.
Sure thing. I rolled 6, so I did not.
Nope.
I just got my eyes on Sid. I look at him in his naked splendor, covered in filth and grime from having slept with this monstrous entity. I start to formulate a plan. Would I be able to sneak in here and dischain him from this thing? Likely not. So I come to the idea as either I'm leaving him to his fate or I have to try and negotiate with this thing. So I start to lift myself up in a just, off the ground, just elevated with my wings, and I start to move myself in her general direction. Not trying to be stealthy, no, just trying to present myself to her in a way that she sees me for all that I am in this moment. It's this undead flying entity flying in her direction.
As you come out, the ledge sort of reaches out about a 5-foot area before it drops into this huge globe, and pull yourself onto this ledge, spectral wings from your back. It'll quickly snap its head forward, and it watches you between these tiny little beaded eyes, the rolls of fat and obesity just hanging off of this thing, and very slowly it'll reach down, grab a chunk of what looks to be maybe a horse or some sort of large mammal, lifts it up and shoves it into her mouth. She chews on it, watches you. She doesn't say or do anything, watches you almost in awe, sort of.
I have no seed for you, but you have something that I demand you return to me.
I say in an aggressive, trying to antagonizing, intimidating manner. Trying to be as stoic and imposing as I can be to this monstrous entity that, in my mortal life would have shook me to the core, no doubt.
The one right there.
And I point in an aggressive manner towards Sid.
He is mine. He is not yours. I will take him back now, or you will die. There's flames below you, and I can assure you there will be flames here in your bed if you do not relinquish him to me and mine.
It'll watch you as you go through your spiel. Another one of these slaves will climb atop of it and let it do its thing. She doesn't even seem to notice it. And you will see this what looks to be almost like a bird-like fetus just spill forth from it and roll down the side of this mound, this nest, to the bottom. Off in the shadows, you see a movement, and the harpy dives down, snatching up this little infant thing, and then another one. And it hovers down, and then hovers in the air between you and this queen, which is you're about 20 feet away from it. And it hovers there, watching you look back. And it'll flap its wings in towards you. It stays out of like direct reach, but it comes in as close as it can without you being able to touch it, sort of within melee, basically. It says, "The queen does not speak. She only breathes. What would you have with this slave of ours?"
I will take him from this place, for he has value to me. You can have many slaves. The town is full of such breeders. But this one comes with me. Or your queen will die, and so will your line.
Mental lies.
I am no man. Look at me. Look at this flesh. It has not been alive for a long time. Challenge me not, Harpy. You can have your colony without battle with me and my friends. They have caused chaos below, and assure you this, there will be much more chaos brought to this place if you do not relinquish this one to me now. You could have others, for that we do not care, but this one, he is mine.
I say it again with a bite to my tone.
Give me a charisma check.
Alright, so my charisma's 9. I rolled a 3.
She eyes you very warily for a few moments. Do you have anything sparkly or trinkety or anything like that that you wear? Or bejeweled or bedazzled in any way?
I do not appear to have anything outside of my heavily emblazoned and adorned harming sword, which is in my hand.
You start to notice the smoke rising from behind as this fire goes on below. And Himmel, if you glance over your shoulder, is still at the edge of this cliffside. She's not like near the edge to fall over, but she's sort of in that nest area, just spasming on the ground, foaming at the mouth. And you can see this putrescent sort of liquid spilling forth from her ears and nose.
Does the harpy seem to be bothered by the smoke and the carbon dioxide that's coming up this chimney?
Yes, it does. It does not immediately make anything, but you can see that it quickly keeps glancing behind you and trying to best make its choices considering the situation. The queen behind seems almost animal-like, as if it... You can see that maybe at one time it had a sense of intelligence, but it's been nothing, or been delegated to nothing more than a breeding machine at this point. And it doesn't move or do anything besides eat. This harpy will flap in, slowly getting closer and closer before it finally lands on this ledge, these hawk-like wings, or vulture-like wings flapping down behind it. And it'll reach out as if to touch your sword.
You like what you see, Harpy? This is very valuable to me. It is from a long line of great men, for I no longer live. I no longer belong to that line. It will be yours if you give me this one. Again, he is of little value, and you appreciate pretty things. I can bring you more, Harpy. But this one, he must come with me, or your queen will die. And then your line, too, will be like mine. No longer going forward, but ending. Choose wisely, for I tire of this.
And I flap my wings, knowing full well that the spell is running its course, and this deception will be over soon.
Reaches out these long, talon-like nails that sort of traces along part of the bejeweled hilt. looking at this, looking at the smoke rising off in this chamber, looking at Sid and this queen, and you get the sense as it's come closer and sort of into your light that it is probably fairly young. Not necessarily the one to make the smartest of decisions, and easily wowed by your bejeweled sword and these wings that are sprouting from its back. And it seems to be caught in between this choice of, does it take this or does it do wrong and not do what it's supposed to do, sort of thing. When you mentioned that you would give her the sword, her eyes will snap at yours, this pale, putrid sort of color. There at yours, and looks over at Sid, into the sword. A change one for one. Give me the sword, and I give you the human.
Deal, make it so. Unchain the man, and the sword will be yours.
And quickly, she'll leap off the edge of this cliff and just dives down to the where Sid is.
Bring him to me, Harpy.
Begins fidgeting with this lock that's on the ankles. Behind, you can hear the squawks of these other ones, and then you can hear the flaps as they start to come up through this tunnel behind you, Vendrick. And with that, we will swing back over to the others. Seda, you're charging forward at this harpy who is looked to have entranced Tiva and Zan. Are you going for an attack or doing anything else?
Well, I mean, given Tiva's intelligence level, she would see the obvious charming of both Zan and Tiva as being really, really bad, probably going to put her in trouble, probably going to put her friends in trouble. So the only way she knows how to break a spell is to hit the person who's casting it. So that's probably what she's going to do.
All right.
Going for an attack.
Go ahead and give me an initiative roll.
D6, right? D6, right?
A what?
A D6, right?
Sorry. Yep.
3.
My kid's screaming in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but
That's okay.
and okay. So you will go up before this thing will. So go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
I'm going to lay into this thing with my great axe.
All right. What do we got for armor? Armor is 15.
All right. So she's going to bring her axe back, bring it down, and say, "Let go of my friends." And I rolled a 12, but I get a +6, so that makes it an 18.
So that's a hit and damage.
Oh. We get damage bonuses in this one again? I keep forgetting.
Nope, just the D roll.
Got a 5.
Lane, you can see your axe pass through part of this wing, opens up a fairly decent-sized gash on the wing. But it continues its song, and it's almost... It looks at you as you do this, Seda, but it doesn't really give you even a second glance. And it just dives in, attacking its Zan as it sort of towers above him, and it dives down. Its beak and claws, everything goes right towards the open stomach and intestine sort of area in you, Zan. You were considered compelled, so... AC is just going to be a 12 at the moment, since you were unable. You're essentially defenseless.
Always me.
I tried.
Total of 8 damage, and this thing just lays in you with claw and teeth, opening up areas on your stomach. As it seems to be basically working its way down, begins tearing at your chest and then the stomach, and it is very obvious that it will be going for your lower member area.
Yes, more.
And let's see, you can give me another save to try and break it, but otherwise you were just still compelled.
Oh, what?
Both of them, or just
Yep, both of them, sorry.
Okay.
No. Oh man.
You would
Hold on, where's my dice? Okay.
20.
Come on, big buddy. I did it. I got a 19.
So your eyes snap open to find yourself leaning against this wall, Tiva. You can remember everything that you were envisioning and this sense of ecstasy that you had. Is up ahead. Seta's battling with this thing as it's just completely tearing Zahn apart and making its way to castrate him.
Oh God! So she jolts herself and looks around. What happened? And then she looks at the horror that's before her. She's, oh my God, Zan! And so she jumps up and starts to try to run over there. And then she looks at her slings like, damn it!
Why don't you go ahead and give me a D6 roll to put yourself into the initiative and maybe do something. I'm not sure what, but
I could do that. I got a 6.
All right. So you would be up first. Yeah, why don't we have you do that first, and then we'll hop back over to Vendrick real quick. So what would you do on your turn?
He's going to go over there and try to kick Zan in the butt. Wake up!
Just start. Yeah, if you run over and begin to kick him, whatever, you just see the smile sort of across his face as it's just more of the pain and abusement he seems to be taking in his moment of fetish ecstasy and seduction. He is completely in bliss looking at the moment. Tears of joy stream down his face and smile crosses his mouth.
He's going to yell at him, you're one sick bastard, get up!
Off to the side, Vendrick, you can see this harpy run, sort of dive down, begin fidgeting with this chain. Behind you, the smoke seems to be getting a little bit thicker, a little bit thicker. You can hear the squawks of the harpies below. As they start to get a little bit louder, you get the sense that they're coming up the shaft. This harpy will grab Sid in these huge talon-like claws, basically just on each shoulder, and with a yank, lurch forward, dragging him up through the air, and just let him drop at your feet. He is conscious, but he looks completely famished and exhausted and just unable to really move.
I grab him under my arm. And I look to the harpy.
My hirelings are below. I suggest you let them go if there's any of yours. We mean you no further harm. But remember, the mother will die if anything happens to those that belong to me.
And with that, I push off with Sid, embracing my strong, dominant right arm, and I fly over to the ledge as best I can, hampered by the additional encumbrance, and try to also grab the little squirrel entity that I've grown to become fond of with their bravery in this desperate flight that we've undertaken together.
This thing will reach out, almost expecting you to hand over your sword, and as you leap away, it gives out a screech. Traitor! Screams.
I didn't realize I didn't give her to the sword.
Quickly be sort of bounding, kind of like hopping. It's shame it doesn't seem like it's fully capable of its flight yet, so it sort of hops and glides a little bit on its wings down this tunnel behind you, just screeching in anger behind you. I'll say your movement will be halved if you've taken both Himmel and Sid.
And she's chasing me?
Yes, she will be.
Now, I just realized that these things are... This mother is just, like, pounding out babies, right? This thing is just, like, fucking...
Yeah.
So this one is probably not any more special than the one that just became it before it, or the one that's coming 5 minutes from now. So I don't really want to waste my resources on taking out this one entity, being that there's always 100 to follow. So I'll focus on the fleeing of the site. So I'll push forth all the cognitive might I have to get the spell to hold on long enough to get Himmel and Sid out of the top of this thing and down to safe landing outside. Not knowing what's going on down below me. I have no concept of what my friends are undergoing at this point.
You'll be delighted.
You reach the edge of this little nest type area and look down. You can see the harpies below. The sun has moved a little bit, so it's starting to get darker, but you can see that they're starting to circle up. Being that they don't have the wing capacity to literally fly up like you did, they're basically following the heat waves, allowing them to circle and rise up. Get to the edge. Give me, I'm going to say, a strength check first to be able to show you can grab both Immel and Sid and carry them out.
Let's see. I have a 12 and I rolled a 13.
Not too far off, so you grab both Himmel, jump out, Sid is in your other arms, and leap from this edge. These wings flare out up above you 60 feet, not too far. You can see the opening of this tunnel. Below you, 2, 4, 6, about 80 feet is where they're just starting to rise up from the bottom, where the flames are starting to patter down finally. You leap into the air. You get about 20 feet up, and you can feel one of them slipping from your grasp. Which one is it?
It's Himmel for sure. She's more capable of fending for herself than what Sid is in this moment. So my fingertips grab her fur, and I can feel the fibers of her fur slipping up to her petite little wrists and then to her fingertips. And I look to her, and she twitches her little squirrel nose at me. And I offer her a sad look, and as that moment of her finger grip loses mine, and she plummets into the darkness of the shaded area of the chamber.
These large, squirrel-like brown eyes look at yours. And even though she isn't able to speak whatever, she does at least look at Sid. She seems to realize what is happening and that you at least tried. But she's more concerned about Sid, and you, whether Vendrick really cares or not, you get the sense that that's how she would have it regardless. And you can feel her small, furry hand slip from yours, and she begins to tumble. I don't know. Yeah. You see her fall, and she'll hit where these cross beams are, and you see her head snap to the side. One of her legs hits the other side as she smashes down on these, tumbles a few more times, and then lands on that ledge from the tunnel below where Seda, Tiva, and Zahn are. You'll all hear the smash and thud. Zahn, or you don't really care, but Tiva and Seda, you'll look just over your shoulder to see Himmel's body just smash onto the stone, little outcropping behind you. You can definitely hear the crunching sounds and this sickening sort of crack as her head smacks into the cobblestone. And give me a constant, how about an intelligence check, Vendrick, to see how much longer you can carry your spell to make sure you can get out of this thing and basically to a safe landing spot. You can outdistance this other harpy without too much of a problem, though, at your speed. So.
Cool, yeah. My intelligence is 15 and I roll a 6.
Nice. So yeah, are you going off the cliffside and all the way down to the ground area, or just up to the cliffside?
I'm just going to go off the cliffside and back down to that immediate area that we started this venture in, that I had told Zahn to, flee to, basically. So I go down and I land not far from the shrubbery and the rocks that I had originally hidden behind, and I lay Sid down, and I immediately look back towards the opening, waiting with bated breath for my companions to hopefully come through the gap.
Just as your feet are almost at the ground, you can feel your wings dissipate, so you drop down a little hard to the ground, but okay. Lay Sid down, look back over your shoulder. Just inside this tunnel, you can see the naked backside of this harpy. Zahn laying on the ground, presenting himself to her. Both Seda and Tiva in a panic. Tiva kicking Sid in the side, and Seda getting ready to smash this harpy once again. Do you want to enter that initiative, Vendrick?
I do, yes.
All right, go ahead and give you a d6 roll. You would be about 50 feet away at the moment.
You roll high or low for this?
1d6, and I'll just plug you in wherever, depending on.
Okay. I have a +1 to initiative. That's why I was asking. So 3 + 1, so 4.
4, nice. All right. So start of the round, Tiva, you would be up first as you're just kicking at Zahn, trying to wake him up and get him to do something. What do? You can see this harpy doesn't seem to have any interest in you or Seda, regardless of its own safety. It's just focused on having its way with Zahn.
So me kicking Zahn, has it had any effect on Zahn at all, or we don't know yet?
He just seems to really be enjoying it.
My God, you are a sick bastard! And so when she hears the crash of Himmel over to the side, she looks over and screams, "Oh, Himmel!" And so she runs over to Himmel to check to see if Himmel is still alive.
No, she will not be. She took way more than hit points and falling damage than she has. You get over there, and you can see her body's crumpled up pretty good. Her eyes are sort of closed. As you reach down, though, Seda, in the light from above cascades across her. You see these large brown eyes stare back at yours, completely lifeless. And this thick red liquid just spilling out from the back of her head is her. Yeah, her head is completely split open on the backside.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yep.
So a tear runs down her face because she knows that Himmel was such a help to them and just everything that they had gone through. And she just starts to sob a little bit, but then she realizes that her friends are still in danger. So I'm going to do something that's going to sound really terrible, but I'm going to search Himmel and see if there's anything on Himmel that might be of use to us later. I know she had like the leaves or petals, so she's going to look and see if there's anything on Himmel that we can use.
As you sort of rifle through, she has a small dagger. Nothing too fancy. Looks like more just protection, basic thing. She has a surgical kit. She's going to have 3 lotus petals, the exact same thing she gave you before, in another little packet.
Okay.
And then she has actually, let me see how many. 2 vials of what looks to be sort of this pinkish white sort of powder. It's about 2 inches, little small vial, nothing big.
Okay. So she's gonna leave the dagger because she doesn't need it, but she will take the vials and the surgical kit and the petals. Absolutely.
All right. As you dig through those, grab those up and go to stuff them in your own pack. Sort of lift up just to the side. You see 4 harpies as they leap over the edge. 4, Vendrick, you are up. This harpy that is in the shaft, you're about 50 feet away from it, but it's completely oblivious to you. You can see that it's getting ready to entertain itself with Zahn, regardless of Seda smashing it with its axe.
So I can see this from the opening of the original entry point.
Yep.
Before I venture forth to there, I look back to Sid, who's unconscious, semi-unconscious.
Yeah, it looks to be like in some sort of state of bliss or fatigue, or he's awake, but he's completely out of it.
I'll do a hard backhand slap across his face.
Listen here. Your god did not answer, but I did. You're alive from my hand, not of your god. Your god is dead, and so will my friends be. You, there.
And I look towards the way we entered this point.
Get out of here now, or hide, but do not hinder me further, for I must save my friends.
And I start to move towards the door. I reach for my sword and realize it's still there.
Yep, you got it.
Yes, there will be blood.
And I move towards the doorway.
In a dash, you can reach all the way across there. Just next turn, you would be right behind this thing. As you're moving across this clearing, up ahead, you can see this harpy that was chasing you try to come up out of on the edge of this cliff and look down. It doesn't jump down or anything. It seems to hesitate up on the cliffside as it looks. It does see you and running across this clearing, but it doesn't come for you. And that puts the harpies up. The one on Zahn, it's just continuing to lay into you. 1, 2, 4, 8 points more damage, Zahn, as it makes its way further down your chest. And these claws tear, hit your genitals, and
Yes.
And you can give me another Save versus magic to try and break this.
No. I like it too much.
Smiles crossing your face, blood spilling from your guts. And it looks like she is just going completely to castrate, just tearing apart these genitals. The other 4 come up and they just pound on you, Tiva. One reaches forward with a claw. Let's see. 2 are just going to make a quick claw swipe as they dive. Well, they both miss anyway. So 2 of them notice you. They make a quick claw swipe at you with their talons as they continue to rush upwards in the tunnel as they pass by. So those 2 go up into the smoke above you. The other 2 land on the ledge, though, and just go on to a full-out assault. And what is your AC? Because 17 or 18 or something like
that? I am 19.
19, all right. So miss. 1. All right, so the 1 misses, but the other one is going to hit you for only 2 points of damage. But you feel it grab your shoulder. These talons sink in, and pain rushes through your body as it sort of starts to rend again at these shoulders you just had fixed. And you feel a jerk, and you realize that it isn't so much attacking you as it is grabbing a hold of you. And then you feel your feet get lifted as this thing just jerks you up into these talons. This other claw grabs onto your other shoulders, and you're completely weightless as it just flies up this tunnel with you in its grasp. Just make a note that you're currently grappled, and it will move up 30 feet. So you'll just see this tunnel rush up around you. The smoke is just massively all around you. You start to breathe it in and cough a little bit. You can see these cross beams as they flutter past your vision, and the stone dais with a man who's been completely naked and mutilated on the top of it. The spiraling staircase that comes up around as you go higher and higher. Seda, you are up. Behind you, you would have noticed this harpy grab a hold of Tiva in its talons and fly up the shaft with her. And Zahn getting ready to be castrated next to you.
Hey, if I try to force something into the harpy's mouth that's singing, is that going to be an attack roll?
Yeah, I would give you a negative for it because it's kind of like a called shot, but it's also not totally. It knows you're there, but it's not.
I mean, if it's singing, I was just going to wait till it opened its mouth to sing and then just try to grapple it or whatever. I didn't know if grapple attacks would be a.
Yep, you can try to grapple and wrestle things too if you wanted.
I'm going to use press then to give myself an additional +2.
Okay.
To my attack, but I'll take a minus to my armor class. So,
okay.
Rather than trying to keep hitting this thing with an axe, as soon as it opens its mouth while it's singing, I'm going to whip out one of the flowers that I got from Sid, the ones that make people go to sleep. And as soon as she opens her mouth, I'm going to try to shove it right in her mouth.
Ooh.
Let's see how this goes.
Give me a normal attack roll with whatever your bonus there is.
Well, if I do it with a press, I get a +8.
Okay. Go ahead and do that first. With 3C's 15.
Yeah. So with a +8, that gives me like a 23.
All right. Yes, you can definitely do that. Give me a dexterity roll.
My dexterity.
So D20 under your dex score.
Under. All right. I got a 4 under 12.
All right. So yeah, you're able to sort of bash this thing back a little bit. Its head snaps back as you hit it. The song spilling forth as it hits more of a higher note, and the squawk beak opens up.
Yep. I shove the flower in its mouth and clap the beak down and go, "Eat it, bitch!" Like that.
Let me give her a save. What does she save as? Let's see. I'm going to save. That's an utter failure. Yeah. It clamps down. Its eyes will quickly glance over in your direction, and it makes a couple of swipes at you as it starts to. Actually, that'll stop it singing too. So on your turn, Zahn, you would snap out of your ecstasy as well. And yeah, as long as you can hold this thing's mouth shut so it can't spit it out until its next turn, it will fall asleep because it failed its save.
Yeah, I'll lock its beak down and look over at Zan and go, "Wake up, you pervert!"
In that case, we would snap up to Tiva as you just feel the ground rush out from underneath you. Your arms sort of slung in this position. It has full control of you at the moment. And you can feel yourself just being rushed up this tunnel, like it's getting ready to fly outside this tunnel with you in its grasp.
God. So she's screaming. And Rush was saying, well, kick it. And I said, if I kick it, if I succeed, it's going to make me fall. And I don't want to end up like Himmel. So she's panicking. I'm not sure, or she's not sure what she's going to do. Just at this point, because I'm underneath the harpy, right? In its claws.
Yep, in its claws. Kind of like a bird carrying prey, exactly.
Okay. And I asked a question in the chat, but is there, and I'm backtracking a little bit, is there any way for me to know what that pink powder was by chance?
She never used it. You could give me an intelligence check if you wanted to. It won't count as your turn. You can just give me one in general since you would have done it at the time and see.
Okay. My intelligence. So it has to be under my intelligence, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got a 9.
And that's under?
My intelligence is 13.
Okay. You get a... Maybe you would have seen it back when she was working on Zahn or something, maybe. But it seems to be some sort of like a antiseptic or an antibiotic or something to stop like poisons and infections and stuff.
Never mind. I was hoping I could just throw it at the harpy. But then that would just help it. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to have to wait until I land because, I'm not near anybody anymore. And I'm not going to take a chance on this harpy dropping me yet.
All right. In that case, you would fly up. Let's see, another 30. So you'd pass by this area where it's sort of carved out. And you see all these nests and these tiny little infant, like humanoid harpy things. You might get a quick glimpse of this tunnel filled with slime and gore. And the stench is actually, I need a save versus poison from you since you're passing that tunnel.
Ugh. Save versus poison.
The second one.
Oh, the second one. I got a 7.
What's yours?
Oh, it's 12. Shit, I failed.
All right. So you're going to be poison.
I got that pink powder.
You do.
You don't have any arms.
Well, they're kind of. They're
So
kind
you
of
would
not very well.
begin to sort of spasm and jerk and go into like seizures. It would last 4 rounds. You are capable of doing things, but only minor things like minor walking or little things, basically, is your body's just completely... you've almost lost control of your muscles as they jerk about, like you're having a seizure, basically, but you're conscious. So you begin to shake, tremble in this harpy's grasp, and it'll glance down at you with this skull-like face and lets out a screech. Vendrick, you are up behind this other harpy as you come into the cavern. You can see Sada's holding its mouth closed as she just shoved what looks to be a lotus petal into its mouth. And Zahn slowly starts to be waking up, even though he's still smiling in enjoyment of all this.
Do I have to roll for sanity?
Yeah, actually, why don't you, since the harp, you can go ahead and give me a your save roll. Oh, actually, not save. My bad. No, you're all good. You're good, Zahn. You're good. You're good. Go ahead, Vendrick. Sorry.
Sid is outside. What are you doing? I told you to flee. I see you in these harpies. They're relentless. We must get outside. Go! I look to Sada. Where is your little friend?
I'm holding the harpy's mouth shut, and I'll say, one of them came down and grabbed her and flew away while she was trying to check on Himmel, who fell or got dropped from somewhere. So now she's gone back up the thing again. I'm fixing to go get her.
Up the shaft. There's no way for that. Get the barrier outside.
And I move forward with that. With the moment of conversation, I try to stick my arming sword into the harpy.
All right. It is not aware of you, so its armor is only 12 right now.
Oh, I roll 13 with my +1 to hit.
Yep, so that's a hit. And damage?
Just the 2 damage as I tried to strike it with my sword.
You
As
see
I
this-
walk in to look up the shaft, I kind of like do a half-hearted, like sideways swipe at this thing. As I go to look to see, glance up beside you to see where the harpy and Tika or Tiva are.
It'll, between the throws of trying to break Sada's grip and your momentum past this thing, it does glance across part of its shoulder and neck, opening up a bit of a gash, but it just panics and is trying to break free of Sada's grip. Reach the end of this tunnel and look up, and it's just chocked full of smoke. It's not going to affect you since you don't breathe, but you can't really, you can see up to where the beams sort of cross above, but it's just so thick with smoke that Tiva's out of sight. I don't know if she's screaming or anything, but if anything, you wouldn't, that's all you would hear.
Tiva! Answer me, are you still alive?
You can hear screams of a little halfling in the air.
It probably start to sound a little gurgled.
Can I hear him?
Yeah.
Okay. He yells, "Yes! This bitch has me!"
Are the flames growing as these bodies and corpses and debris are being burnt up underneath?
Nope, they actually have almost put them out, but it's just so thick with, looks to be some sort of red, slimish, mucus type stuff that they poured over top of it. It's just smoking like crazy.
Gross.
Let's get these guys out of here, then maybe we can come back for her. I know it's not what you want to hear, Seda, but if we stay here, you're sure to die.
She keeps holding on to the harpy and doesn't really say anything at the moment because the harpy's still struggling. But then she kind of, through her teeth, says, "I'm not leaving her." So this red goop stuff is at the bottom of the shaft. Do I understand that right?
Yep, it's like 30 feet behind you because you're at the other end of this tunnel. But
There's undead stuff or bodies mixed in with it.
they're not undead. They were, well, they're not, well, they're dead now, but they were living people
Okay.
that were just had their legs and stuff broken so they couldn't move.
But now they're dead.
Yeah, they've been burned alive by now.
Okay. Yeah, she's just kind of got to continue holding on to the harpy until it passes out so that it doesn't sing and make everybody charmed again.
All right, so that harpy would be up. It's going to try and break your grapple, which is just an opposed strength check. It'll be 1d20 plus your strength plus your attack modifier.
Plus my strength or my strength modifier?
Strength modifier plus your attack bonus. Which odds are I only got a 9, so I'm sure you can hold it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 6, but my attack modifier is also 6, and my strength modifier is 2.
So yeah, you're able to hold this thing. It'll make a couple half-hearted swipes at you with these talons, trying to open up and trying to pull itself away, and then it slowly starts to limp down, and it just falls limp as you hold on to this thing. The other way, the other two just dash out of this tunnel, trying to get out of the smoke. As one passes past you, Tiva, it's going to make a quick swipe. What is your dex mod at the moment? Just be whatever your dexterity modifier is.
She had to step away. Her dex mod is +4.
All right, so it's, and then plus 12, 16, because she's kind of helpless in the moment. One of them was going to swipe for only 1 point of damage. As it passes by, she would feel herself be lifted up, these talons digging into her shoulders, and then just airless, lightlessness as it drops her.
Oh boy.
Oh no!
So I need, this could end very badly. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You're 120 feet up this shaft.
Might be rolling a new character, baby.
Oh no!
Give me a dexterity roll. and I need to know how many numbers below whatever your score is you roll.
There's so she's gonna fall this entire distance before anyone else has any type of turns. 120 feet.
Yes, you drop at, I think it's 120 feet per turn. Pretty sure is what it was. But she'll actually be hitting the stone dais first, so it's not going to drop all the way.
She beat it by 10.
She's gonna ricochet on the way down. I love it.
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Pinball wizard.
So it would normally be 2, 4, 6, 8.
Is there any way? I'm sorry. Is there any way as she's bouncing down that I can try and get to the bottom of the shaft to catch her?
You are on the other end of the tunnel, so it would be at least a movement to even get there. The only person down there at the moment would be Vendrick.
Okay.
I do have a means of saving her, but we'll see how she does with the bouncing off of the
So you
pedestals first.
Then,
I'll hold up a scorecard.
I give it a 10.
all right, and then give me a save versus paralyzation, Tiva. And that'll give me my total here.
Come on. Big money. Ah, shit, I failed.
What would you get?
I got a 3.
All right, well, that was to see if you would be able to catch yourself on the dice, and that's a no. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Would normally be 14d6. It's going to be cut in half since you beat it by 10, so 7d6.
76 what?
I guess damage.
76 points of damage?
7.
Oh my god.
You're still going to go splat.
You can feel yourself tumbling, and this heavy smash as your stone or your head hits off part of the side wall. You can feel your whole body just smash into this stone dais. Kind of kinks your back awkwardly. You feel one of your legs shift really strangely, and then hear the snapping bone. Before you're able to reach out and catch yourself on one of these things, you just feel yourself slip over the edge and smash. It's going to land right at your feet, Vendrick, depending on what you do. But
I would have cast a spell on her way down if I would have been able to do so.
You're going to be able to see her when she's 10, 20 feet above you because of the smoke. What do you want to cast?
You hear some quick, audible incantations as she quickly casts a spell and waves his hand out haphazardly, understanding that the moment is upon him. If he doesn't act now, it's going to be too late. And I just cast Web kind of haphazardly as I cast it. So I'm just trying to connect that web to anything and any wall, any beam, anything, and catch Tiva in it. Normally I would be more precise in my application of this spell, but in this moment of haste, I just kind of like instinctively let's just like toss it out there as quick as I can, and trying to with my attempt of sideswiping my hand in a direction so that I like kind of pin her to the wall, basically.
All right. How about give me a dex roll to try and act quick enough to get it to secure to something feasible.
Sure, my dex is 14 and I rolled 7.
All right. So in that case,
and I'm not affected by the smoke and or the haze of the thing, so
no.
I might be able to react and not be in a. Understand the urgency of her not hitting this dais and like going the way of the little squirrel, but at the same time being able to just like half shoot my hand in the left and pushing her up against the wall in this 20-foot per diameter of web. So it doesn't even need to be that precise to catch a little halfling in the web.
As she comes into view above you, Vendrick, you quickly flash out your hands and mutter these words. You see her head smash off one of these beams, but quickly sort of seal her to the side of this cavern with your web up above you. So she's about 20 feet above you, stuck to the wall. I'll half the damage since it's basically you would have only taken part of it there. So it's still going to be 16 points of damage, Tiva.
I only had 7.
Well, you see is she looks like she just knocks her head and falls unconscious, Vendrick, but you're able to smash her or web her against the wall above you. Her body looks limp and she looks unconscious, but she just doesn't look mutilated or, like Himmel is at your feet anyway. And actually, we can step out of initiative because the other harpies are just getting the hell out of there. The queen's too fat to move, and you put the one to sleep. And Zan, you would be just waking up. So whatever you guys do is up to now. You will just be actually give me a d20 roll, Tiva, to see if anything major happens to you from.
A D20?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, what am I going to lose this time?
Who knows?
I got a 13.
This makes perfect sense. Okay, I will let you know whenever you wake up.
Seda.
You done hit your head. You're gonna be dumb as I am now.
Seda, get on out of here. I do not need to breathe. I can get your friend.
What is this? I feel so light.
I pick him up and start to shove Zon out. And is the queen like right there?
No, she's up in a chamber up above. Completely.
Hundreds of feet.
Yeah.
I'll slaughter that bitch.
I start to try and climb up the side of the.
Yeah, there's all those.
I try to go up to try and cut Tiva free from the webbing. I can't just dissipate the spell, so I have to climb up and like manually cut her free.
I'll throw what's his name? What's his name?
Sid.
Sid is still like comatose, right?
He's outside though.
Yeah, he's on the outside. If you drag Zan out there and stuff, you notice Sid's naked, covered in gore, and completely famished looking, dragging himself across the ground to, basically because Vendrick told him to get out of here, but he's not moving very fast. He's literally just crawling across the ground slowly.
All right, so I'll grab, like, push Zan by his hindquarters and grab Sid and just pull him along, with tears, of course, coming down her eyes because she doesn't know. I'm taking she didn't see Tiva actually fall down the shaft. Assuming so, she probably has no idea. So she's pretty upset and emotional at this moment.
And quickly clamber up the side of this tunnel, Vendrick. There's a lot of handholds and pittons that are still there and stuff, and cut Tiva free and pull her out. So you'd see Vendrick a few moments later come out of this side tunnel carrying Tiva's body, limp in his arms.
I'm not even doing it like delicately. I have her like by the scruff of the collar of his shirt, and I have the smashed skull remains of the little squirrel entity with me as well. Hemel. I have Hemel in one hand, dragging it like a corpse, and Tiva in the other. My normally colored illusionary magical face is all dissipated. You see the white skull of my cheekbones and forehead, and just covered in soot and debris as I come forth.
In the air, you can hear the occasional squawks of these things. It just looks like a massive fire smoke coming up out of this geyser into the sky, clouding it up. Able to walk across it. Don't look like these things are anywhere around in your area, or they're just trying to get out of the smoke and to safety. You can hear the occasional loud screaming squawk of the queen inside that echoes out of this tunnel, but that is it as you pull across. Tiva, give yourself 1 hit point. As you briefly remember this smash on the back of your head, and then all of a sudden getting thrown against the wall by the sticky web as you fall unconscious. When you wake up, the whole world around you is spinning. This head is just pounding. You're trying to remember what happened. You can't. You move your arms and stuff. You can just feel Vendrick as he's dragging you by the scruff of your neck. So you rolled stupidity. 1d6 loss of intelligence. So give me a roll.
Yes!
Oh my god. Vendrick, that will be a great journey.
If it makes it any better, if you roll a 6, it explodes, but at least roll 4.
Oh, you could be even dumber than me. Do it. Roll it right now.
Do it!
Roll that beautiful 6.
I got a 4.
Ah,
Oh, dang!
So -4 permanent to your intelligence.
So now it's -4, so that gives you a what?
A 9.
Oh,
Oh man, wow, that's still more than me.
You have
your intelligence is less than 9?
Yep.
Holy crap, we're all done.
Yeah, we are.
Except for Vendrick. At least y'all can read, though.
just a bunch of dumb people with you, Vendrick. You drag them out.
It's obvious to Vendrick. It always has been so. So I did come up with this terrible plan.
Yeah, so you're able to pull Himmel, who's completely dead. There's no saving her; she's gone. And you can hear Seder, feel Seder. She starts to wake up and set her down to the side. You can see Sid has just completely passed out from exhaustion. Yeah, breathes heavily in the dirt, covered in.
I throw him over my shoulder.
He's a little slimy with his own bodily fluids, but
He doesn't care. He wants to get out of here.
I don't feel so good.
You don't look so good either.
I have a feeling I'm missing something. Oh.
Did they actually get your junk?
Partly, right?
a good chunk of it. Maybe probably missing a testicle
man.
or maybe 2.
Oh,
So
fuck.
am I unconscious now?
Yes, but
Okay.
with 1 hit point.
She's gonna just hold her head, go, "Oh, my head's killing me, and I don't remember things anymore."
I wish I couldn't remember things. Let's get out of here. Oh.
The smoke seems to just continue to get heavier and heavier, filling up part of the sky and creating this blackened cloud above, sort of shields out a little bit of the sunlight and stuff. But you can move your way down this path. Sid is basically unconscious, just completely exhausted, so you will have to carry him, Seda. But everybody else is able to move, and depending on what you do with Himmel's body. But any last things, I think that would be a good stop to spot, as it's almost 6 o'clock and seems like a good area. So any last parting words that you guys do or say? Or
Did we make it? Are we making it all the way back to a town, or?
I don't know. You'll be able to make it back down the pathway, at least for now, and then you can decide from there what to do.
Yeah, start heading towards that town that we had bypassed just previously, the one with the broken-in gate and stuff, because that seems like the safest place to go.
Yeah, it's just on the part of Iron Ridge, just the northern end of it. But
The place that had undergone multiple sieges seems like the logical place to go for respite.
The only thing that well, for one, Theta is going to be completely elated that Diva is not dead. And as she has this slimy, nasty man, she's still upset about Himmel. Sadu makes the comment that as soon as we get to town, we're going to go to an inn or somewhere, and we are going to rest until everybody feels good again.
We can at least try.
Going to keep stumping along.
My last words are no Zan dynasty ever. And P.S. I should have brought one of the testicles as a replacement. But well.
well, you can be happy knowing that they will forever be in memoriam somewhere in that tunnel, hanging, perhaps a little bit larger than most of the others.
I mean, did they just leave at least one? They left.
Well, you have to roll for it.
Yeah, give me a 50-50 chance. Roll even and you got one. Roll odd and you don't have either one.
Okay. 19 what?
So odd, you have 1.
Ah, see? You're still good.
Shit, yes. See, everything's fine. So in that case, I'm sad for losing Himmel. That's really sad.
That's why you were given 2.
Vendrick still has Himmel in his hand, non-ceremoniously as he drags her along, as Sid is now moving a little more freely towards the township. He picks Himmel up and puts her over his shoulder, and he whispers in her hearing ear,
Go now to the void, sweet child, for it is a part of you.
Hmm.
And with that, you all make your way down this pathway, seeing once again that stone that leads the blasphemous path. You can see it's covered in old, dried blood. To the north, Vendrick, you can spot the branching trees climbing above even the mountain ranges into the sky of Yggdrasil. To the south would be the city of Iron Ridge, or the town where you left from, and the northern end of it where they're having their festival. And we will call it there for the night. Let me
Awesome.
stop, bro.